Welcome back, America. It's Hugh Hewitt inside the Beltway, joined by United States Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas. Good morning, Senator.
Good morning, Hugh. It's good to be on with you again.
Well, I've been gone for a week, and I get back to the Beltway on Sunday, and I see you are being attacked for talking about the founding and the evil of slavery. What happened?
More fake news from the radical left, Hugh. Slavery is an evil institution in all its forms and in all places, whether that's in America's past or around the world today. And, of course, slavery itself is never necessary, and most of the founders agreed with that. What was necessary, in their view, was a compromise at the Constitutional Convention for the sake of union and the Constitution, which they believe put slavery on the path of ultimate extinction, as Lincoln often said. Because without the Union and the Constitution, there would have been no America. And without America, without a nation, as Lincoln put it, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, who would have freed the slaves in the 19th century? Mm-hmm. Who would have saved the world from fascism and communism in the 20th century? No one would have. That's who. And that's the history that we need to teach our children. The history of a great nation that has always strived, imperfectly but passionately, to live up to our founding creed and to defend human freedom at home and abroad. America is a noble nation, and we should teach our kids to be proud of it.
You know, Senator, when you argue with a mob, though, it's very difficult to make a point, especially when it's a historically illiterate mob. Good luck on that. I got to ask you about China, because while I could easily talk to you about Lincoln and the founding forever, I got to ask you about your friend Mike Pompeo's speech at the Nixon Library last week. He put it down pretty bluntly. China or the free world, make a choice. What did you make of his speech, indeed, of all the speeches that have been coming out of the administration? Did we lose him? I think we lost. Senator,
you here?
Yeah, you're back.
There?
What did you make of that speech by the senator?
I thought Secretary Pompeo's speech was a good capstone to a series of speeches by senior administration officials, by Attorney General Bill Barr, FBI Director Chris Wray, and National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, who, by the way, we all send our prayers and thoughts to as he recovers from the coronavirus. But in those series of speeches, those four officials have laid out the president's plan and his record on confronting the menace of a predatory China, what China has done to threaten the United States, to steal our jobs and our factories, to threaten our privacy, to threaten our allies and partners, to repress their own people, whether it's Hong Kongers or Christians or other religious minorities who are now being sent to gulag re-education camps. China is a menace to the world, and the world should view China as a pariah state. That's exactly what these four senior officials have laid out in their speeches over the last month.
Now, I've got Richard Haass coming up next hour. He's already slammed Secretary Pompeo's speech, and we'll talk about that. But I don't think that the foreign policy elite likes terms like the predatory China, China is a menace, it should be a pariah state. They are not used to such ungentle terms, Senator Cotton.
Well, it reminds me of the foreign policy elite who got the vapors when Ronald Reagan spoke the truth of the last communist empire, the Soviet Union, and called it an evil empire. And they all needed to go to the fainting couch. But Ronald Reagan spoke from the moral sense of the American people, who know that communism is a godless, evil system of government that threatens not only the United States, but threatens freedom everywhere. And for those who say that, China's not a communist country anymore, that is nonsense. Maybe Xi Jinping doesn't stay up at night reading Das Kapital and Marx's other works, but it is a one-party dictatorship that ruthlessly represses its own people, dissidents, ethnic minorities, religious minorities, that does not permit anything like what we consider free enterprise, but rather directs, controls, sometimes even owns enterprise. It's aggressive in expanding its control on its periphery and ultimately around its world.
I do question a lot of the historical literacy of blue check Twitter. They do not remember when Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire, when he said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, when he said that they will end up on the trash heap of history. It wasn't just the vapors. There were heart attacks, Tom Cotton. I was there. I was part of that administration. It was the same swoon that we're seeing now with the administration's clarity on China. They're just historically illiterate.
Well, Hugh, you can't expect these historically illiterate left-wingers in the Democratic Party or their media wing to read some of Abraham Lincoln's most famous speeches. How could you expect them to read Ronald Reagan's speeches?
Or just to remember how they reacted back then. I am curious, Senator, how bad will it be for the U.S.-China competition, adversarial relationship if Joe Biden wins?
Well, Joe Biden all of a sudden is talking tough on China, Hugh, but let's remember, Joe Biden has never missed a moment to conciliate and appease China. He was one of the leading advocates for permanent most favored nation status and their membership in the World Trade Organization, which led to the so-called China shock of the last 20 years as we hemorrhaged manufacturing jobs to China. And his son, is the only person apparently that Joe Biden has ever gotten a job for in China.
Tom Cotton, always a pleasure, Senator. Good to talk to you. Don't go anywhere, America. Richard Haas gets a response. Senator Ted Cruz is coming up. It is the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Portions of the Hugh Hewitt Show are brought to you in part by Job Creators Network Foundation.